What is up and how's it going? Welcome back to another edition of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. We got a Dynasty Doctors episode for you today. I am your host, Tyler, one half of the Dynasty Doctors, and I got my co-host, Shane O'Mac, the other Dynasty Doctor. How you doing today, Shane?
What's up, my brother?
Oh, man, same thing, different day, but we got a fun episode today. But let's not forget, we got Broseph here with us, too. I mean, look, I got to say, through all this trades and everything like that, you know what, Joey? I want to say now you're a Dynasty resident. Not so much a Dynasty Doctor yet. You're almost there.
I'm working my way up.
Vastly just light years ahead of where.
Well, now that hockey's over. Now that I've come back from Atlanta to see the Club World Cup from seeing Chelsea play, I could finally get into football. I could finally start paying attention fully to fantasy football. Something that, honestly, before hockey was done, I was like, I could care less. I'm not worried about it. Now y'all in trouble. Now I'm going to figure it out.
This is how we're in trouble now. Okay.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, yes. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, we had a fun episode today, guys. We're doing a mock draft, kind of a mini one, but we got Shane decided to make it a little difficult for us, and we're doing a mock draft today, but with a caveat. That caveat being is every position has to be only, so your team can only have one player from each division, not team, not team, division. So it's going to make it very tough. It's going to force us to actually think. I know we don't do it very often, but we're going to have to today. But with all that being said, is there anything y'all want to add before we just dive into this thing?
I do have to ask. So,
yes,
did you, Shane, or Tyler prepare at all? Have like the first 4 rounds set going into this?
Going into this?
Yes.
I looked at it like, hey,
yeah,
I would pick this guy from this division. Like, I've got a couple people in mind, but it's kind of wild card. I didn't realize Joey was drafting, so I'm thinking like me and Tyler going back and forth. So this is gonna have a little wild card. So might be a little easier the first 4 rounds. I think the last 4 rounds are gonna be rough.
Oh yeah. I'm glad he is doing it with us. Just to give it a little more. Well, that way we can't take the same players. We're not going to be just taking the studs in every spot, just from different divisions. So it's going to make it, like I said, it's going to make us think a little bit. So with that being said, we decided this offline. Broseph, with the first pick in our mini mock draft, who are you taking?
So here's where it's tough. I could go wide receiver. I could go running back. I think that's where you have to kind of go first. You know what? I'm going to pick that boy from LSU, Jamar Chase, number 1.
Chase, so the AFC North is now done for you, Joey.
Yes.
All right, Shane O'Mac with the second pick. Who are you taking, buddy?
I'm going to take Tyler's favorite running back, Bijan Robinson.
Great pick. Great pick.
Honestly, that's who my other pick was. All right, I see you got that.
Yep, I'm on that, Joey. So,
just so y'all know, we have a sheet so we could keep track of, in case you hear us like, oh, you got it. Okay, cool, got it.
So, I looked at it a little bit, realized there's going to be some gamesmanship to this as well. And with my first pick, I'm going to take Brock Bowers.
I knew that was coming.
And, there's only 2 stud, really tight ends. So I'm going to make sure I corner the market on that one. So that takes out the AFC West for me. And with my second pick, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson.
Interesting.
Yeah, switch it up a little bit. Y'all decide to go running back, wide receivers. I'm going to go quarterback and tight end.
Well, I think I'm going to just take the best available guy here in Justin Jefferson.
There you go. Jettas.
Let's see. So the AFC North is done for me. You have Lamar. I think I'm going to go quarterback this round. I have back-to-back picks since we're doing a snake. I'm going to go ahead and stare down that sophomore slump in the face. I'm going to pick up Jaden Daniels.
Okay. I like it.
And then before the tight ends kind of get all cinched up, I'm going to take George Kittle.
Okay.
Okay.
All righty. Shane, you're up again, buddy.
I guess I'm gonna take. Let's see. I want to take him. I want to take him. I am gonna take Jamari Gibbs.
Ooh. Jameer?
Jameer Gibbs. Sorry. I'm looking at I'm trying to look at
Very nice.
which one I'm
Whoa,
going.
whoa, whoa. You can't take him.
Why
You
not?
cannot take him, sir.
Oh, you have?
He's
Yeah,
in
you
the
took.
same division as Justin Jefferson.
Oh, all right. Well, give me Saquon then.
Okay.
That's right. I forgot I was thinking I took somebody else. There we go.
I forgot the only rules to my mock draft that I made up.
That's correct. That is correct.
So with that, I'll take Gibbs here. Alrighty. And then, this is when it starts getting a little. Let's see. I gotta play around with some stuff here. There we go. You know what? We're not gonna play around long. I'm gonna take me CeeDee Lamb.
Okay. Give me Trey McBride.
Yeah, that's a good pick. See East. I will give you that one.
And I didn't do this on purpose, but I knocked the whole NFC out first.
I was gonna look. I was like, man, hopefully he doesn't take who I think I want to take at this next pick. But then I realized, no, you got all the NFC done.
So Shay's just. I mean, that's a hell of a way of doing it, though. If you think about it, way not to get mixed up. It's just NFC, AFC. Screw it. So, Joey, you got 2 picks here, buddy. Where are you going with your first one, bud?
All right. So just because I want to be goofy, and I'm going to take. By the way,
here's the wild card.
Saquon's in the NFC East, not the NFC North, as you.
Okay.
Just looking for. I'm just looking out for Shane here. Even though it's just NFC done.
I'm about to say, was it that confusing for him?
It might have been. You never know. Let's see. You know what? Give me Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
At wide receiver. And then I don't have a running back, so I'm going to go ahead and take my number 1 pick from our Dynasty draft, Ashton Genty.
Okay. All righty. That's a good pick. Let's see. Yeah, it gets tough, doesn't it? You start getting to the nitty-gritty of this, you're like, crap.
I started looking, and I'm like, oh, I could take this guy. Nope, can't take him. Nope, can't take that guy.
I'm going to take Nico Collins.
That's a good pick.
That honestly was the other guy I was looking at for the AFC South.
Well, with that, make sure I didn't take anybody from that division first. I'm going to roll with Puka Nacua at my spot. And then let me see. All right. Let's see. I'm just looking at see what positions I need. I need a running back. And I have anybody from that division? Oh, let's make it a little fun. Okay. You know what I'm going to take? I am going to take Bucky Irving.
Okay. Let's see.
All right. Shane, you're up, buddy.
I am going to take Lad McConkey.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice.
I could not pick him.
Don't you hate that? You're like, oh, that looks good. Oh, damn it.
All right, so I need another running back. So I'm going to take Devon Achane from the AFC East.
Yep, you're good. You're good with the Dolphins.
Okay. So I just need the AFC. No, I have the AFC North. The AFC is done for me. I need the NFC West.
West. Oh, no. You need the South.
South and North.
Yes.
Yeah, South and North. Okay. And I still need a defense. Are we doing defense and kicker together?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So basically, like hypothetically, if I took, and I can't take them, I know it. Say I took Buffalo Bills, I'd get them
The
and the kicker.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I also need. I got tight end. I got quarterback. See, this is where it starts getting kind of difficult because you're so worried about the divisions.
Oh yeah.
I got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, quarterback. Okay, so I just need a flex and a
Flex and defense.
Special. Okay, so I'm going to go the flex route first.
Okay.
From the NFC South.
The anticipation's killing me.
Oh, trust me, it's killing me. I hate saying it. Mike Evans.
Okay. All right. That's not a bad pick, though.
I know.
Shane?
Ravens defense and kicker.
Very nice. Okay. Let me update this real quick, my dudes. And then. All right, I'm just putting Ravens for you there, Shane. Okay. So with mine, I'm stuck between 2 Jets. Okay. If we're being honest here. And I think I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson here as my flex.
I'm a little shocked there that you didn't go like Henderson, go with the rookie.
Nah,
No.
I'm going with proven commodities here. And then, so
it.
it leaves me. Oh, that's the AFC. I believe it's the AFC South is my only division I have left. It is. So it leaves me a lot of great choices for defenses. Let me tell you.
Texans, baby. Texans,
yeah, that's where
baby.
I'm going Texans. There's no other choice.
Yeah. Well, with my last pick, I hope this guy's okay. I'm going to go sleeper here. Josh Allen.
I like it. I'm not even going to put where his division is. I mean, And then Joey, why don't you wrap us up with your division with your defense and kicker?
So my defensive kicker, because all I have left is the NFC North. I'm going to go best available to me at this point, and I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Minnie. Well, that's it, guys. That is the draft.
So just to give you, if you guys, I don't know if Tyler has his. If we were just picking a team based on not going against anyone else, my team would have been Jaden Daniels, Justin Jefferson, Bijan, Puka, Chase, the Texans defense, A-Chain, and Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Is how I kind of had it broken out.
I play you can play with some different lineups. I mean, I was just going through it, and the Brock Bowers one was just like, wow, there's no other elite tight ends other than him and McBride, right? And I mean, Kittle's up there in that echelon as well, but it's just like, man, you have to you had to get one of them early. So that's why I was like, I'm taking Bowers first regardless, but I didn't want to go first and take Bowers over everybody, but just want to get a positional advantage there.
Well, I think we talked about it in my redraft league. I have the 7th pick, and I'm heavily favoring. There's no keepers, there's no nothing, but I'm heavily favoring Bowers in the two spot.
It's a positional value for sure, advantage, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, you roll that guy out, he's giving you what, 15, 20 points a game?
Yeah.
Most games. I mean, Joey's got the cheat code in Jamar Chase. Like, the guy was just absolutely phenomenal last year. I don't see a drop off whatsoever. But Shane, I was kind of with you. If I wasn't drafting against anybody, I actually had a list, and it was going to be a pretty fun one, but I decided to go trying to chalk here and be as consistent with it as possible. But it was one where it was once it was Allen, where I had BTJ, Neighbors, and then Saquon, and then it was some kind of combination of that. And I was like, Well, that's super fun. I don't know if it's the best one I could have made, but it's definitely fun to look at, right?
It's a fun exercise for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, so Joey, so let's go through this in just a little bit. Joey, give me your favorite pick and the one you're kind of like, I just kind of got forced because my divisions were out.
So my favorite pick, obviously, it's a number one pick, Jamar Chase.
Oh, yeah.
But if I couldn't go that route, I would say Genty.
Okay.
I feel like they're going to be a run heavy team because again, their quarterback situation. Who's their quarterback right now?
It is Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. So I think they'll lean on him a little bit. Also, the thing that kind of worries me a little bit about him, if I had to come up with like a kind of a gripe, let's say, is Pete Carroll doesn't exactly like to run the ball at down in
Okay.
toward the end zone.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop you right there. You're taking one play from 2014
that Russell Wilson audibled out of.
Exactly. So I'm gonna tell you right now. That's a strength for me is the fact that Pete Carroll's there.
I think he's gonna run it down their throat, and
you kind of have to.
Yeah, he's gonna be a freaking wrecking ball going down the line, like down the field, easily.
Now, speaking of the Raiders, it's a little fun fact, and Joe, you may want to take a nugget of this. Shane, I don't know if you've heard this, but apparently Besh is not running. Is like getting is running behind like a 6th round rookie right now. So it's early.
What's it? Is it the kid Thornton or whatever? The big tall kid.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, in that offense, he's going to play more to slot. I would think. I mean, you're going to put a guy who's 6'4" and they can run a 4.3 on the outside. But
it was just interesting, though.
Yeah, it is interesting to see for sure.
Yeah.
Until they start playing preseason, and you start kind of seeing who that core group of people is. That's when I start kind of the camp wonders. You see these guys every year, and then they all fall flat.
Yeah, they end up flaming out. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was just a fun thing. I knew like Joey's talking about the Raiders. He has both Genty and Besh, so I thought he would find that a little interesting. Want to get his take on it, but I think you kind of quelled everybody's fears there, Shane.
Well, I'm rooting for the Besh kid too. So
100%.
Yeah.
I loved him coming out. I just didn't have a chance to get him, but yeah. So Joey, is there one that you said was that your least favorite that you felt kind of hamstrung into taking?
I mean, it's not a bad pick, but Mike Evans just kind of. I feel like, there's times where he's shut out, but then there's times where he lights it up.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on
having had him in the past when he was younger and he was a little healthier. I feel like right now he gets banged up a little easier.
Age will do that.
Yeah. So it was just kind of hey, he's a top wide receiver in the NFC South. I needed something, and I don't know how to feel about the defenses in the NFC South yet. So I was just saying, I'm going to save that for the NFC North and then get a flex that can get me points and get me over, trying to, getting those points I need.
Yeah.
The 10 points, the 11 points a week kind of thing.
Yeah. No, look, that's why I traded for him this offseason.
I would have said Joey, and this is just Monday morning quarterback in here.
Yes,
you could have took St. Brown from the North, and then took a defense like maybe Tampa with a good kicker, or even unfortunately the Saints. But
yeah,
I was thinking the Saints at one point, but then I still have a lot of questions about the defense. Yes, that was probably the high point of the season or the team last year, but even still, you're not keeping them out the end zone as much as you should.
Yeah.
And the aging backfield, like we talked about, last episode.
Yeah. Now, Tyler, what's your favorite pick and least favorite pick that you made?
My favorite pick, and I'm just more surprised that you didn't take him, was Puka. When I was like looking at him, I'm like, oh crap! I can get a top wide receiver this late. Yeah, cool. Sign me up.
In his
I
defense,
had to save it for McBride.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a gamesmanship there, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was really happy with that one. Yeah, I'll go with my last one as kind of my iffy pick. I was between Wilson and Brees Hall, and honestly, the deciding factor was honestly they keep talking about a 3-headed backfield in the for the Jets. I'm not okay with that, so I'm going to go with the guy who is the one right now. And yeah, and look, all reports are is that it's all kumbaya and reunited, and it feels so good with him and Justin Fields. So let's see if that chemistry can cook this year. I mean, they were college teammates, so that was my deciding factor there. But I think he's primed for a big season. I mean, Monday morning quarterback in mind. Maybe don't take Lamar that high, but I was just trying to be contrarian there for a second. But hey, I like my team. Look, if this was my starting lineup, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. No kidding.
But Shane, what about you, buddy?
Well, favorite, I obviously love the fact that you two went quarterback, so I could just sit back and pick Allen last. So I love that. I kind of had to switch gears because I had A-Chain kind of penciled in. My least favorite actually is Barkley, and it's not because I've just everything you read up, and we can kind of talk about this a little bit. I wanted to ask y'all's opinion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because everything you read of is any running back that's had over 400 carries in the season, the next year, I think the top spot they finished in is 15 or something like that. Yep. And it's really far off after the 15. I think it's 20 or later. Yep. And so I have a friend who has Barkley, and he asked my opinion. I said, well, his value is the highest it's probably going to be for the rest of his career. I would probably throw it out there and see if you can get anything for him because, I wouldn't feel like I'm not going to draft him in redraft. He would be on a fade list for me. He's not on the dead list like McCaffrey is, but he's still on a fade list for me. So I'd be curious to see what y'all's thoughts are on that.
So you're going to laugh. I completely agree with you on the 400 carry thing is a giant red flag. You got it. Like with Dynasty, you have to go with trends and history. Like there's always going to be outliers, right? And he very well could be a giant outlier in this one because he's in cut above most running backs. I would rather make that bet on somebody else, you know what I mean, than put my eggs in that basket. Because where you draft them in redraft, it's probably top 5, if not 1 overall, or probably top 3, I would say. But I would just rather make that bet somewhere else. But I completely agree with you on that one with Saquon.
Believe it or not, in redraft, I was a little surprised in this too. He is rated like 7th or 8th.
Okay,
and he's the 3rd running back behind Bijan and Gibbs.
That makes sense. Okay, so either way, a first round pick.
Yeah. Right.
If you're investing a first round pick, I've done it, you've done it, and Joe, you've done it. You can overcome a first round pick sucking, but we all agree it is a hard thing to do. Is to recover from that.
It's a battle for sure.
It is very much a battle. So I completely agree with you there. And I'm gonna take a contrarian take real quick. As long as there's no reports of him being injured anymore and he's come back healthy, I'm all in on Christian McCaffrey this year. They're going to be forced to use him. I mean, you're running out Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall, which both can be good, but you got it. I mean, it's going to run through McCaffrey.
Well, I don't think that he's not. I would bet on him for sure throughout the year, but
yeah.
Drafted him after I've been burned. I've been burned on McCaffrey twice. So
same here.
Yeah. So to me, when I'm building a team like a redraft team, when I'm looking in that first round, I'm passing on him and I'm passing on Barkley at 7. I'm not going to go running back for sure because Gibbs and Bijan will be gone. So I'm going to take the best wide receiver and then focus on late round run. I mean, this is a good year for late round running backs in the redraft league.
Well, the rookies, there's a lot of guys that are, there's a lot of depth at the position this year. But Joey, what's your thoughts on Saquon's high carry numbers over 400? And then also, just go with that one first. If you want to talk about CMC, we can talk about CMC.
I mean, right now I think Saquon's got all the momentum in the world coming off of a Super Bowl. The only thing he's got to worry about now, and that's something that, I don't think it's talked about enough, and it kind of went away a little bit, but it's still kind of there. He's on the Madden cover. That's
fair.
That
is fair.
People aren't superstitious, but I look at the Madden cover and I see that as, hey, you're probably not going to have the year that you had the year before if you succeeded enough to get on the Madden cover. So, if he stays healthy, I think he could get that. But again, he's got to be healthy. And on CMC, I mean,
same thing.
I mean, same thing with like health. Like he's got to be healthy, but I think he's starting to, like, how many years has he been in the league?
Since 2017. So
it's starting to kind of show like, hey, that adage of running backs are good for 10 years and that's it. It's going to be tested in the next couple seasons. And, already coming off of the long injury time that he had, we'll have to see.
Yeah. It's fair points. Fair points. So let me ask y'all, if y'all had to take a second-year wide receiver and put your eggs in the basket and say that's going to be the next one to join the upper echelon wide receivers, your CeeDee Lambs, your Jettas and Chase, and that echelon, and Puka, who would you say is the second-year wide receiver that's poised to make that jump? Shane, I'll start with you.
Are we not counting Neighbors because he kind of made the jump already? I mean, he's already projected as a first-round pick, or are you?
I mean,
in this exercise,
Neighbors. Yeah.
I mean, I personally don't want to include. I feel like while I think he can be a top 3 guy like Chase and Jefferson, I don't think it's much of a jump for him, being that he finished third in points last year or fourth in points, I believe.
Well, you're thinking of BTJ. BTJ was fourth in points last year for fantasy.
Neighbors is projected he is projected in redraft as the 7th player right now currently to be drafted.
Yeah, I mean, so that's fair. Yeah, so we can do the second tier then. Underneath that.
So I would say after him for me. And if somebody wants to talk about Neighbors, I just was curious. The guy that really jumps off the board for me is Rome Odunze.
Okay, I like that pick. Go ahead.
I think Caleb Williams is going to be the first Chicago quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards this year. I think they're going to have a pretty fun offense to watch. And they drafted him in the first round. I think Allen's gone. I think you have to put him on the field and see what he's got. You're going to have DJ Moore, him, Loveland. So I think he's primed in a position. They've got some pretty good offenses in that division that they're going to have to try to keep scoring against. There's a couple out there, but to me, it would be him or one other player. So we'll see if somebody else picks the other player for me.
So I want to jump in on Rome real quick. Also, think about it this way. You look at the body types, right? Got Rome Odunze, who's built like a number 1 wide receiver. Then you have DJ Moore, who's more of your slot, gadget guy kind of thing. Luther Burden, same way. Loveland's going to be your tight end. So to me, he's almost by default going to be that 1 wide receiver. And him and Caleb actually had some connection last year. I know a lot of people that maybe took him high in their rookie drafts are a little disappointed, but you had to know there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. But I just really think that he's going to be ascend too. I love that pick. Joey, why don't you give us your second-year wide receiver that you think can make that jump into the upper echelon? We're going to leave out BTJ. We're going to leave out Neighbors because they're pretty much already established themselves as wide receiver 1s.
I was going to say the same thing about Odunze, but if I had to give a wide receiver to kind of, I'll say look out for this season that didn't really do well last season, kind of make that kind of jump. Marvin Harrison. You can only go up from where he's at. He's gotten more bulk.
That's
fair. He's had a full off season with his quarterback to get that, that rapport with him, to know the routes, to know, hey, when I'm here, this is where I want the ball and I will get it. So look for him to improve.
That's very fair.
At least in my opinion. That's
no.
I can't think of him going like doing less.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think he's in for a pretty big jump this year. They just totally misused him last year. Like, it felt like everything for him was 50-50 balls or nothing. Like, they didn't manufacture touches for him. You know what I mean? It was more McBride in the middle of the field than anything.
Didn't he get to camp late because of the whole or did that? I couldn't remember. Did that affect him? The whole thing with the signing?
The NFLPA thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't know if that affected him last year.
No, that just affected like his merch sales, like if would he be mad and that kind of stuff. No, that's all kind of quieted down. I think, when you cause that much hoopla and you don't come out and meet expectations, or even, I mean, honestly, I don't think he really came close to expectations. And that could be a fault to the media and the public and everything like that. But I mean, look, he had over 800 yards. He had, I think, 10 touchdowns, something like that. It's a solid rookie year. It's just not generational game-breaking kind of stats. But I think he's going to be all right. I think they just need to manufacture touches for him more. He put on size. I hope that doesn't affect his speed. I know they're saying like, oh, well, his added strength is going to help him fight press coverage and everything like that. I'm like, well, I hope he just doesn't pull a David Boston and get too jacked to play wide receiver where he can't move anymore.
Right.
So that's something you just have to watch out for. So I'm going to go with mine. Man, I hate this because I know who Shane was referring to. And
there's two guys I like. I mean, there's a couple, but
I look, so I'm gonna say one that I don't think you're gonna say. I'm gonna go with Xavier Worthy.
That's one of them.
Oh, that's one of them. Okay. I know a lot of people like to say like, oh well, he only had all these targets because Rashee Rice was out, and he's only he's only good on underneath stuff, and Patrick Mahomes is a terrible deep ball thrower, which it is. If you go look at the stats, he has been horrendous throwing the ball deep the last few years. I just saw, if you extrapolate the last 3 games of the regular season and then what he did in the playoffs, like Super Bowl is a whole different thing. Like they're getting blown out that game. I don't really count that too much. But I think they've extrapolated out and it's like 1,600 yards, 100 catches, that kind of thing. I think he finally goes into that role of Tyreek Hill used to have for the Chiefs. Hopefully bulked up just a little bit this offseason so he can fight off the press coverage and stuff. But I don't see there's any reason why, other than injury, where he shouldn't be a 1,000-yard wide receiver and at least 5 to 7 touchdowns, in my opinion. The dude's dynamic, and you give me Andy Reid as a play caller, they'll get him the ball.
Yeah, I don't get the stigma. They're like, oh, well, Rice is coming back. It's like, good. Kelsey's slowing down. You want more than one weapon on the field. The problem they were having last year is they lacked healthy weapons.
Yeah.
Put Rashee Rice on the field. Put Worthy on the field. You drafted him knowing you didn't draft him thinking Rice is hurt. So they clearly have a plan for this kid. He got better as the year went on.
Exactly.
So I agree with you. He was one. The other one for me is Ricky Pearsall.
I thought that was the one you were referring to originally. Yeah.
Yeah. Ricky Pearsall. I know Juwan Jennings looked great on the field when everybody was hurt last year, but I mean, you don't spend a first round pick on a guy, and they were feeding him the ball as he got more and more comfortable. He just reminded me of somebody like, if I'm going, this is the first year I think I've ever said in a long time I'm going into a redraft league where I'm targeting tight ends and quarterbacks high, because there's so many of these receivers that I like later like him, where I would almost go like a 0 wide receiver build and fill out like those running backs and quarterback and tight end, and then try to get someone like Pearsall and a Dunze, Worthy, because I just think these guys are going to make – I think all 3 of them could make the jump easily.
Yeah. Now, Joe, do you have another one or any comments about Ricky Pearsall, since you are a Ricky Pearsall manager?
I'm a Pearsall manager. I mean, with everything that went on in the offseason, I kind of gave him a break. You kind of have to, really. It kind of sucked, though, because, he took up a taxi squad spot or he would take up an IR spot when I really needed that extra spot. So, but in all honesty, I still am waiting to see what he can do. I think the end of the last season, he started to pick it up. So I like what I see in the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens with the full off season, with the full OTAs and mini camps and preseason. Let's see if he can pick it up from there, because it should improve. I can't see it. I can't see it dwindling.
I would say two guys that aren't receivers that intrigue me this year going into is Trey Benson and Jalen Wright. I think that Mostert's gone in Miami. A-Chain, while I love A-Chain and I'm an A-Chain owner, he's one big hit away from getting knocked out the game. I mean, he's not a big dude. James Conner, as well as Mike loves him so much. He's getting up there, right? Like they put some draft capital into those guys where I could see them getting worked into the rotation. So those are two guys, second year running backs. I'm looking out and kind of drafting best ball, draft and redraft, taking shots on.
The only I will say I agree that they definitely have the opportunity to. The only thing that concerns me with Benson is that James Conner is just the ever ready bunny, right? He's always just ageless wonder.
Yep.
You have to think if he was talented enough, they would be able to spell him a little bit more, or maybe pick up the offense stuff. So that's a little bit of a concern for me. But I loved him coming out of college. He was my number one running back in last year's class. The draft capital kind of threw that off a little bit, but I could see the path. That's just a concern of mine for sure.
Also, real quick, just got this notification. Shedeur Sanders stopped for driving 101 miles an hour.
Going faster than he can throw the ball too. Got
it. Oof. Didn't miss a beat there, my brother.
I'm so over it, dude. I'm so over it. Why do people give a shit about a 5th round quarterback who's going to be out of the league in 3 years? Who cares? Who cares?
I just can't wait to see his number be retired at the opening game of the Browns. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Real quick, a little just a little another off subject, non-football. How about the Lakers selling for $10 billion and the Buss family still owns part of the team after getting $10 billion?
Yeah, so they sold the majority stake to the people that own the Dodgers for $10 billion, but still are going to get a cut of the profits for their minority stake now. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, look, I just want to know who, man, the Dodgers are just printing money, I'm assuming, because or they're just waiting for their bills to come due in 2055 with everybody's deferred contracts. And then they're just don't worry about it.
So you have the Dodgers, you have
I'm just being an asshole.
No, I'm saying the guy that runs the Dodgers owns Chelsea FC, which they spent a lot of money. They're talking about a $4 billion stadium or something to that effect in London. So they just like spending money. If they want to spend money, send me some. Shit.
Well, they had a financial person basically break down and saying while people don't like what the Dodgers are doing, financially it makes sense because they're locking this money in that the dollar is just going to keep rising. So that value, the money they're going to be paying Shohei, it's not really that. While that money is valued at that value now, in 10 years, it could have been double.
Oh, no, 100%.
Yeah. So, but it's a lot of money. I mean, I don't know, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's insane to think about that. And just the amount of money is being thrown around is absolutely crazy. But I mean, if there's anything else y'all want to cover, you know what? I'm going to piggyback real quick. I think Caleb Williams is in for a big jump this year as well. I just don't. If it's not, then it's on him. Unless his line just goes to crap. Because he literally has everything.
Yeah.
Set up for his success.
I like him. He's a guy, depending on the build and the redraft. There's some guys I'm fading, some guys I'm loving. I'll tell you, the Matthew Golden guy sticks out as a rookie that where you can draft him.
That's the key.
Where you can draft him, I think I'm not going to overdraft him, but I like the value if I need a receiver. None of those receivers have really stepped up and said, I'm going to be the number one guy.
Yeah.
Second year guy we didn't talk about, but we all love is Ladd.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like he's established too.
Let me ask you something about Ladd real quick. With him kind of being, and I don't want to say capped because he's not. I don't want to pigeonhole him, but he is primarily a slot receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever worry about the Chargers? Let's say Trey Harris is just solid as the outside guy, right? Do you worry about his targets not being as high? Because they literally had no choice last year but to force feed him.
Yeah, so I would worry about it more than I would say worrying about like the Jacksonville situation, where I think we've talked about. You got a guy like BTJ on the outside and Travis Hunter in that offense could catch 9-10 passes a game, and even if it's for 60 yards, he's getting you 16 points, and that doesn't count if he gets a touchdown. So it could. Ladd, I think, is going to be consistent. If Trey Harris breaks out, I still think that offense is going to get him the ball, but I think some of his numbers might be touchdown dependent in a red zone. Whereas, like, he reminds me kind of a similar situation as Laporta. Everyone loved Laporta the first year, but he had 10 touchdowns last year. While he still was good, you see in his redraft ranking, he's in the 80s.
Yeah, it's a touchdown regression. I mean,
yeah. So I'm curious to see how that offense works, because at the end of the day, the Chiefs, they're playing the Chiefs, they're playing the Raiders, and they're playing Denver for 6 games. Those guys are going to score points. Yeah. I think the Raiders' offense is going to be fun to watch this year. I think Pete Carroll gets the best out of his guys. So, I'd be curious to see how that offense is going to do. But there's definitely guys I'm taking before him for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's all I really have today, guys. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? I mean, I love these drives. I feel like we should probably sprinkle these in every now and then just to have some fun.
I do
good little exercise. Yes,
I do want to kind of add so off the field kind of stuff. As a Saints fan, Tyler, you can agree with this. This doesn't involve on the field production whatsoever, so just bear with me. We make fun of Atlanta fans and Atlanta everything as much as possible because that's just what we do. After having gone to Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Monday, holy shit, that is a massive, insane stadium.
Yeah, too bad their
I will
actually go.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But I will never make fun of that building again, even if I said to fans that walked next to me that were from Atlanta, I said, "Is it just me, or does this building remind you of a giant sphincter?"
Yes.
And they go, "It is pretty shitty at times."
Dude sees a soccer game in the stadium, all of a sudden it's okay to go to Atlanta. I mean,
that's not. But
I mean, I'm not a Saints fan, Joey, and I still wouldn't go to Atlanta.
We'll give a pass this time, okay? Let's give a pass this time.
It was the one. It was either that or Philly to go see my favorite soccer team.
I'll go to Philly.
Dude, you don't want to go see the Liberty Bell? Get a cheesesteak? Maybe go steal the Declaration of Independence?
That's in Washington.
Right, National Treasure 5.
But they wound up getting the glasses. Okay, they got the glasses in Philly.
All right.
It wasn't the treasure, but didn't they have to find the treasure in like South Dakota?
Yeah, it's Mount Rushmore.
Yes, we'll cover this on Shane's movie podcast coming up soon.
National Treasure is the first episode.
It's a great movie. I might go watch it after this.
Well, with that being said, gentlemen, I think it's time to wrap it up. We'll play it out. We thank you all for joining us for our very first mock draft episode ever. It was a good time. It was fun, even though Shane forgot the rules of his own mock draft. We had a good time. For Joey and for Shane, I am Tyler, your host, and we'll be back next time with a Noble City sort of sports talk. I'll take it easy. Later.